Hey everybody, I'm back from Brazil. And so I thought I would check in on the tanks here. And I really wanted to focus on these two tanks in particular, right here and here, because these are the ones that had the meltdown, the crypts. They didn't look so hot. I'll put up some video on screen here hopefully, but these were super duper melted down. And now they're coming back. And what did I do? Nothing. I dosed some Easy Green 3 weeks ago before I left, and thyme. So I still don't know what caused the meltdowns. Some people say seasonal, some people say your water must have changed, but all my tanks change water at the same time, so why'd they melt down like a month apart? I don't know. But I didn't put any more root tabs in or anything. This is, I want to teach about this, and that is crypts, when they melt down, just do nothing and they will come back most times. So you can see here that all the sprouts, they're just sprouting up new ones, and this tank used to be, this tall with this lutea, and it will be again soon. I literally have done nothing other than put a little, not a little bit, but put fertilizer before I left. They need more fertilizer. I think this one's rebounding a little bit faster because I put more food in with all these rainbows or ornatus in here, which I am just falling in love with here. I don't know if I can, I'm falling in love with those guys. The gold guppies, we had them, but hopefully they're going to eat all the babies and I can move the rest of them to the tank where I moved them to. Oof, showing off for each other. Looking good. Bought a few more plants when I order stuff from the online warehouse, which is where most of you guys buy. I'll always throw in a couple of plants because maybe I'm getting just a supply or a new product that I need to show you guys. And so, I grabbed this buse that was looking good. And I got some snails on it, but it's just chilling in the pot, making some new ones as well. So what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say that I don't think anything was wrong with this tank. Good lighting, auto water change, it was getting fertilizer, and it just melted back. And then when it melted back, I did nothing, and it came back. And so that's what I want to highlight here. So often people go, well, I better do a bunch of things to fix the problems. And there's not always a problem, especially with fish health. Sometimes, that fish had a heart attack, had a bad liver, had a bad thing. Don't radically change everything to fix one thing because often we don't know what's wrong and if there was anything wrong. So this tank over here also melted down. It melted down before. Much less fish in here. There's a pair of platinum pearl scale angels that always like to look at the camera and don't like letting me focus on showing how cool they are because he just keeps watching me no matter which way I go. But these are the rest of the potted plants that I had someone bring because I want to do more Anubias in here. And these crypt when Deadeye reds and bronzes that were in here, they are also coming back, but they want more fertilizer. This isn't getting maybe quite enough. And what I mean by that is, yes, you can put Easy Green in, and I do. You can put root tabs in, and I do. I haven't in a long time because I was going to redo this with an underground filter, which I still might, but I might not. So I haven't put any more root tabs in. But the main fertilizer for all aquariums is going to be fish poop and the food that you put in to feed them. And because there's only basically 10-ish fish in here, these are some raccoon tetras that were kind of spendy that will look cool 6 months from now. And these two angels, one back there and one there, plus some snails. Not a whole lot of food goes in. So this tank is hungry for fertilizer. And how do I know that? How do I know, how do we know the crypts aren't happy, Corey? Well, I put in very low, slow-growing Anubias in here, and you can see, struggling a little bit. They got some holes in some of the leaves there. They just came in, but, they're not thriving. Where, same batch, right? Different plant, which I know this. But, this Buse Philandra, not having that problem because I feed this tank real heavy. Look at the fish load. There are a lot of rainbows in here. I put a ton of food. There's a ton of gold guppies. So I've also been gone for a few weeks. So my wife has been feeding. Now, I don't care who you are, you see that many fish, you will put more food into that than you will that. And so even while I've been gone and my wife's been feeding, this tank got more food for the plants, but for the fish. And so, one, don't change anything necessarily. This tank, yeah, it needs some more food because either I need to put more fish in, or B, I need to put more fertilizer in. And so I'm probably going to do a little bit of both. I got to really decide, am I swapping this over or not? If I'm not, root tab it up. They'll be real happy. So that's one of the good things. If you put a bunch of root tabs in, you basically, it's a cheat code for rooted plants like that, like crypts and Amazon swords and that kind of stuff. I want to go over here, I guess, and talk about, so I redid this tank with the undergravel filter and some Anubias and this cool carpeting plant, tissue culture. We sell it on the website. We also sell this thing. It's been floating around so long, it's kind of making this cool orb. But this did get the undergravel filters that I'm working on. So I got the scratch tetras and the rainbow shiners in here. Rainbow shiners going outside long term, short term, just chilling. This longfin bristlenose looking good. He just likes to, I think he's getting a tan. That's a boy, by the way, because I have all those bristles right on the front there. And so, yeah, I am enjoying this tank. It's, getting some algae. So if we flash back, you're like, oh man, it used to be so bad and covered in algae because there's no plants or anything. And it's still got a little bit of algae going on up here, but the tank is starting to get seasoned and settle into what it's going to be new and now. That's where a lot of times people, if you're having trouble with algae, like, well, how long has the tank been set up? Just wait a little bit. Maybe the fish start helping, maybe start feeding more, maybe start growing a little more. The plant, this was just a tissue culture. I put it in, and then I moved it when I did the undergravel filter because I had to move all the gravel. But then I just put a little bit down, and now it's starting to go dunk, dunk, dunk. And it's going to keep doing that. And over here, it's going dunk, 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 dunk. And so as that keeps filling in, it'll look cool, but also eat up a bunch of those excess nutrients. Now, I also put a bunch of Anubias in here. And no, I didn't bury the rhizome. So if you don't know, don't put the rhizome under the gravel or it'll die. But I want it to grow. And I like having lots of Anubias. It takes a long time to grow. Start now, in 5 years, it'll be awesome. I intentionally fed my tanks a lot yesterday. I want to see how much food could the tanks eat. Fed so much in here that there's actually some rotten food. Look. Right there. I mean, I guess I don't know 100%. I'm pretty sure it is. Could be eggs. I don't think so, though. So, didn't feed them much today. I wanted to see, was I overfeeding or underfeeding? And I think I was, so I put in a bunch more. But a tank will handle what you throw at it for the most part, which is very helpful for us. Over here, I just got some new fish. So these swordtails that are small, these are all swordtails. They're orangey red. Now, what's cool about these? These were bred by someone on the forum, so that's already cool. Hobbyist bred, like that. He was breeding them to make them smaller, which I had never heard anybody do for swordtails, trying to make them smaller. And then this gentleman, okay, so he supplied a lot of my fish now. He also got me these shiners and the white clouds down the way. But his fish room runs unheated, and he keeps fish outside a lot year-round-ish. So these guys, he's kept them down into the low 40s. I'll say that again, low 40s Fahrenheit, not Celsius. So it can go very cold. So I'm interested in this fish because it doesn't need to be heated in your house. It's also bred to be small. It's going to be a swordtail. So you can see they're starting to develop the little sword. Right down there. Just on his little tail there. But that's something I hadn't seen. And I'm always intrigued by things I haven't done yet or haven't seen yet or someone doing something I don't see very often. So this tank also got Easy Green kind of 3 weeks ago. It's still having some algae problems. I put the swordtails, which just arrived 20 minutes ago, in here so that maybe they'll pick at some of this algae that's on the Anubias. Now, this is kind of the look I'm going for. I love this kind of mound of a Anubias that gets going. And, you know, I like this look, and I did this to show you guys, but long term, I don't keep these big flame swords too often, only because when I got to get in here to catch fish to bring them to the store to sell them, it's a pain in the butt. So you start getting a net in here too many times, and all of a sudden the shrimp are hiding and everything. But yeah, this did get root tabs. You guys saw that in one of the previous videos where I was trying out, you know, the new root tab, one of the versions. And yeah, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's what it's doing. So I took, here's a little bit of, there was a little extra piece of willow hygro that had fallen off the original plant in the other tank. So I threw it in here going, well, let's try it in another tank. If you didn't know, one of the best ways to propagate plants is to float them. So if you float a stem plant, they'll grow roots. So even though this is a piece that fell off, you can see little roots starting to grow. You just let that float. It's close to the light. If it gets any of the aerial leaves, it can grab CO2 out of the air. Both of those super beneficial. And if you're tight on budget or you got a rare plant and you can't get more, I love splitting it up. 2 tanks, 2 chances for success. So even though the majority of that plant is right in the back there, that little snippet, we said, hey, let me throw it in the tank next door, see what it does. So that's kind of what's going on with these guys. So we'll see. You know, hopefully in a couple weeks or something I can show you and like, oh, look, they're eating all the algae. Or they ate it all. That'd be sweet. I don't know that's going to happen. Not all livebearers are good at eating this kind of staghorn algae. No one really likes a staghorn algae, unfortunately. Even the Pinocchio shrimp that I thought would take care of it, they're not even loving it. Or it's growing faster than they want to eat. So over here, this is still like the orphan tank. It's got Cyprichromis, and they had babies. So, you know, another 3 months, they'll start breeding with the adults, and I'll be making more and more. There's still all the dwarf Sagittaria, just like I have in the 800 gallon. This is where I harvested it from. It's very unruly. I'm going to say tired of this look or this maintenance. I want to switch it up. A lot of times people say, you switch stuff up, Corey. Why? I like to keep it fresh. So this tank's probably been going this way for 2 years. Now I'm like, I could do something else. So even though the fish are changing, we've got the Zenataka Eisenai or Dordrai. That's a male there, and some females are the silvery ones. I'll show you in a little bit here. Kind of like right behind the weeds, which I also would say part of the reason I switch things up is stuff that makes my job harder, like showing you guys, like these plants that are right up front, sometimes make it harder, sometimes make it easier if I want to show you stuff. But showing you these fish, like that pregnant mama there. What's cool about Goodeids is they actually give birth to their livebearers, live fish with umbilical cords, which is the only fish that does that, I think. And so the babies come out much larger, which is fun. So I haven't seen any babies yet, but I assume we'll see some soon. And yeah, so, you know, having this up front here, you can kind of see there's a lot of, can I get that on camera? Yeah, a lot of mulm. We're deep in the mulm here on the lower end. And this is kind of what, can I get a better light on that? Does that help? Yeah. Let me prop this light up here and try to. So, you can see, oh, that's a horrible glare. Let me try to, well, you can see like right here, like here's the plant. So it's called the crown right here. This kind of a little bit lighter color part. You can see all the roots, right? They kind of go down to this mulm layer. You see up above how there's no mulm? Even though fish poop and it works its way down, it works its way down to the gravel. Snails will keep eating on that. Shrimp will keep eating on that. Fish will dig it up because we have some little corridoras in here. But as you get lower, you get more and more sediment. And that's where the roots tap in. And they really grow with something like crypts and these dwarf sag and stuff like that. So sometimes it's useful to have this up front so you can see like, oh yeah, it bounces. So here's one plant. It actually bounces to here. Here's the next plant, which you can't see very well. Let me go to this side. Maybe that'll help. But it keeps going. You can see one that kind of lands here, and then it lands here. And then the lighting it that way is not going to work. So let me let the camera readjust here. And so now you can see that it just keeps bouncing. And this will just keep bouncing. You can see it. I guess this is a better example up here, actually. Even in the air, when it goes airborne, or waterborne. Dink, 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 dink. And normally it does that kind of under the grout, but you can see that happen right here where it comes out, whoop, goes down, does that again. And what's cool is this will just keep filling in. So with one potted plant of dwarf Sagittaria, you can make a bunch, and you can supply your friends, you can supply other tanks. And normally when you're staying on it, I keep all of that towards the back. Sorry, I'm still sick from travel. But I keep that towards the back, and it's an unlimited source. So if you've got fish that eat plants or turtles, this is a great plant for that. If you want to keep expanding your fish room, it's a great plant for that. If you want to trade this into your local fish store, great plant for that. Great medium for breeding stuff as well. So, yeah, I say a lot of nice things. So, here's another aquarium. Look at all these crypts. Dense, right? Like, wow, look at these crypts. Didn't die off. Why didn't this die off when it was on the same water? It gets the exact same water change. It all turns on and off at the exact same time. All I have in here is some dwarf plecos and a bunch of ocean blue shrimp. The lotus is coming in pretty good, starting to look all right. Tiger lotus. People all the time ask what this plant is in some of my tanks. This is African fern bulbitis. We don't sell it because we don't have a source to buy it where it's not ripped out of the wild. If we can get some good sources again, we would supply it, but over the last 15 years, I have never found a good, reliable source that can keep it in stock for more than about a minute and a half. But yeah, here you can kind of see, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but it's still got the mulm layer. And so, yeah, you could do a dirted tank, but I prefer to get the mulm and the right bacteria and everything from the fish and let them poop it out and not grow it. That's not, well, kind of grow it, kind of establish it. That's what I'm looking for, establish it the right way. That's my preferred method. You can do what you want. There's a million ways to get there. But yeah, you can see here in this tank we kind of did like a little hill or slope. So over here, lower, right? And the mulm is still about, an inch down. You go all the way over to here. Now we've got several inches, and it's still an inch down. So, you'll get that stratifying. And why'd I put this big plant over on the big side? Because I knew it would be, swords are very heavy root feeders. And so it can get roots all the way throughout here and really just have a lot of root mass to support this big plant. So let's go down here because I want to show some stuff. So let's think. The right after, I think it's the tank after this. 1, 2, 3. Nope, it's this tank. So these 6 tanks were treated differently while I was gone. These had the auto doser. So this doses 1 milliliter of Easy Green every single day to every one of these 6 tanks to keep them looking lush. And so this has a lot more of the gold guppies. Still wanting to cull them, and I keep selling them to my store. I don't sell them. We sell them at the store. I give them to the store. We sell them. But I'm wanting to fill in with lots of Anubias. I took a bunch of Anubias I kind of had laying around, and I threw it in here so you can see that one is flowering or done flowering, so it's happy-ish. The lighter color leaves you see on there are all the new ones, and with me being real lazy and not fertilizing very well, you can see the algae on the leaves. All of them. Bad Corey. But it will do better now that it's getting dosed every day a little bit. And they don't use a whole lot of fertilizer, so that's good. But there's a lot of fish too. But not a lot of algae on the glass or anything. Over here, this is the tank where I was like, I miss having tanks like this again. I love just having the Anubias. And so that's what I've done. I've planted a bunch of Anubias. And you can see we're flowering again. We've got new leaves coming out. You can see one unfurling right there. And where'd that other one go? It's right in the center there, like unfurling. And you can see there's another leaf over there. So what I'm trying to demonstrate here is that new leaves are happening like every week when I get the fertilizer right. If you don't have the fertilizer right, it's in a process of dying. Yes, I've still got a little bit of algae on the glass here, but haven't reached that equilibrium. I actually want to ditch these red dwarf platies. I want to focus on breeding these tetras, which are the Emperor Tetra, and I'm hoping I can do that in my harder water, but I think this is, I mean, I said in the last video, I'll say it again, I think this is one of the perfect fish. You get that kind of bluish eye, you get the yellow. They're not even adults yet. They're going to color up so much more. The males look amazing. The females not as much. They're active, they display. Look at that. Stay calm so we can show you off, buddy. Yeah, that's a good looking fish right there. And in 2, 3, 4 months, people will see what I'm talking about. I love that fish. I love it because you can breed it in a heavily planted tank without doing a whole lot. You just walk in one day and go, hey, I got more babies. I'm into that. So, next up on this tank, more fish. I need to either decide if I'm going to add these to the 800 gallon, all these long fin rosy barbs that I bred. You see how they've been coloring up? If you've been watching, which if you haven't been watching, watch the older videos because you can see how we bred these, raised them up, and now they're all the way to this point, and then they're breeders at this point now. And then I've got these long fin gold white clouds. That female really wants to spawn. From the same person that got me those other fish, they kind of need to go outside too, but I'm doing experiments outside, and I'm trying to learn, and I like learning. So, yeah. Just threw a new Anubias. I ordered a new Anubias off of a place called, I think it's fish.light or light.fish. I'm trying to find a hobby website for fish, basically. I don't know how to explain it. A replacement for Aquabid. If you've used Aquabid, I love getting fish from other breeders because they keep things that fish stores don't get. They work on smaller swordtails, not bigger swordtails. They actually have long fin white clouds in the gold form. You know, they might have Bristol shubunkins. They might have all of these things that are disappearing. I think there's a lot of live bearers. There's a lot of, you know, the easy question I would ask is, outside of buying from your local pet store or an online fish retailer, so like, you know, someone who just sells all fish, where do you find the rarer apistos? Where do you find the hobbyist bred rams and other things that you've wanted over the years? Gosh, I'm torn between showing you guys these guys spawning and this guy looking amazing. Are you? Nope. You look so good though. That one in the back, he's just to die for. Focus. Yeah. But these guys over here are being pretty cool. These longfin cherry barbs, another fish that's not super duper common, but they're chasing that female. And they were going in and out of this moss. So the moss is starting to work. I realize this tank looks terrible. So when you're like, hey, that tank looks terrible, like, I'm aware. Yep. It's kind of like if you spill spaghetti sauce on the front of your white shirt, like, oh yeah, you know you did that, but you got the rest of the day you got to go. Yeah, look at those fish. Good looking fish. Also Celestial Pearl Danios in there. But you can see, so see, there they went into the moss. Look at that. That's what I was trying to hopefully show you guys. They're laying eggs right now. They go in, they shake eggs, and if I didn't have the snails and the other fish in there, we'd be raising them up. So that's on my to-do list. Now, let me get back to what I was talking about. So I took a piece of lava rock, and I put pieces of moss on it, and then I covered it with a hairnet. You can buy hairnets on Amazon, or you could beg your local bakery or something like that and just get a couple. And so you put the hairnet over it, and it holds the moss for you, and then it grows in. So you can see on this side, look, that's a hairnet. All that little grid pattern is hairnet. And it grows through, and this is a Physidens moss. Now, we're just starting to win the war on the algae, because I just threw the only moss I had in this tank with these rocks, and it was losing the algae war hard. Like, there was just too many nutrients, but this one's doing okay, this one's doing okay. Yeah, we're losing to algae war over here, so I want to get some algae control going on, and I'm going to clean this up. But I was out of town, and now that the fish are breeding, I've got incentive to do it. So yeah, with the cherry barbs, these longfin, the females are kind of that tannish color, like right there. And then the bright colored males over here. Trying to breed with that one girl. I just like this fish, and they're very easy to breed. So this is one of the first fish You could breed if you wanted to breed an egg scatterer, kind of like white clouds. If you just had just them in a tank with plants and no snails, no shrimp, you would probably just make more. I've done it, and I've helped a lot of people do it. It's the same thing kind of with the Celestial Pearl Danios. We'd have to take them out of the tank. So it's not a one-to-one easy mode there. Over here, more crypts that didn't melt down. They're pushing forward. Crypt Nuri, tissue culture. I pick these up as I can from my own website. We only get like maybe 20 of them a week. And so they go pretty quick, honestly. And so I don't want to be like, yeah, give me all of them. They're mine. Instead, if there's at the end of the week, if I know I'm getting more tomorrow and there's like 2 left, I order them. This fish also, so I did buy these on Aquabid actually. This is another hobby fish that you almost never see in a store. The only time I've seen them in a store, like one time at someone else's pet store, and my store when I breed them. Alfaro colstratus, or colstratus, the knife live bearer as they call them. They kind of have this blue eye. Let's see if I can get to focus on them. Blue eye, yellow fins. You kind of see that anal fin there, that female on top. Yeah, and then the males have the normal male appendage, the gonopodium. And they're just a cool little, because they school around a little bit. You see how these live bearers, they're a schooling midwater live bearer. And you can make babies. How do you know, Corey? Oh, because I'm making babies right here. Look. You can see little babies. Well, I swam towards the back and ruined my shot, but you can see that. Uh-oh, I hit the on and off button a couple times. I got to change that button on my camera. But you can see the little babies there. They're doing their thing. And I'm keeping them with other fish that won't eat babies. So I've got these Brigitae rasboras that just look good. They're nearly impossible to breed. And then because I've got cherry shrimp, and they give birth to live babies. They just go, bloop, here's some babies for you, Corey. And you don't have to worry about any snails or shrimp or anything eating eggs. So you just get the benefit. And so, yeah, I'm really, here's what I want to know from you guys. Do you have a website that's like an Aquabid replacement that's actually good? I see some popping up, but they're like taking a big portion of the sales, which I'm not sure will work. I think part of the problem is that Aquabid kind of died and won't embrace mobile phones. And then everybody kind of made their own website, and we became disjointed. So I don't know about bobslivebearers.com or whatever, where we all kind of used to say, hey, we'll all meet on Aquabid. And yeah, you could still say, hey, the rest of my selection is at bobsrarebarbs.com. And we would check that out. But since we don't have that anymore, I don't know where to find a lot of the stuff I would have wanted to find in the past. So that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out is I kind of want somebody that will do it like in a different country where, you know, people get real weird when it comes to animals, where they start suing each other if there's a problem with shipping, which there can always be problems. We're shipping fish around the country and world. But I want to take that part out, the potential litigation part. I want it to be affordable because the old cranky guy in his basement doesn't want to give up 10% to the internet, you know. So Aquabid had a lot of things where you had to look at some ads from Google and you could donate some money if you wanted, and that really worked well for a long time. But some of these platforms are trying to take 10, 20, 30% and do things, and I just don't know is going to work. I don't want to do it because I don't want to jeopardize my country with litigation or something if something was to go wrong, but I could really help somebody promote something that had the right ideals. Now, it's always hard when if you have 1,000 people selling their own fish, it's not as colorful as you said it was. It died. It came a day late. It wasn't the species you said. There's always going to be that stuff going on. So it takes someone with some thick skin to run that website, but what it allows is the hobby to actually grow with other hobbyists. And I think that is so important, and we've lost it. There's more vendors. It's easier than ever to buy fish online. However, it has never been this hard to buy fish from another breeder. It's only getting harder. Can't sell fish on Facebook. You could maybe do Band App. Craigslist is kind of dead. Like it's getting hard. Right now I can only find on our forum, I can find it on a few websites where it's like just this one breeder that I've known for 15 years, and then my local clubs. So I go to lots of clubs and their auctions and things like, the conventions. Pardon me, I'm sorry. My voice is giving out, so I'm going to have to wrap this up here soon. But sorry about that. There's still no breeding action out of these pit bull pluckos, LDA 25s. But I also haven't spawned these black ruby barbs, which I kind of want to do, and I need to take these mollies to the store and kind of focus on this tank. You can see here my sword, not enough food, not enough poop happening back there, so the pluckos are eating on it and it's being munched. So yeah, even though we've got easy green going on here, there's not quite enough fertilizer for that big sword back there. But yeah, my nose is running, and yeah, there's always more to show and more to look at, but that's what I've got for you today while the voice will last. I wasn't sure if I was even going to be able to make a video this week. I've got over 1,000 videos I filmed while in Brazil, clips of underwater fish and stuff that I kind of want to show you. I found all kinds of algae in the wild and just habitat pictures and different substrates. I was nerding out. I took temperatures. I did all kinds of stuff. So, that's to come. So if you're not subscribed, hit that button. If you like this video, like it. And if you really want to help out, leave a comment and then watch another video for, 5 minutes. That'll send this video into the stratosphere. All right, thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next week.